L'amour peut faire qu'un homme devienne bête. L'amour peut faire aussi qu'un homme laid devienne beau.
Scott, have you seen Beauty and the Beast?
Jean Cocteau's or Disney's?
Cocteau's, of course.
Yes, I have seen Jean Cocteau's Beauty and the Beast, which was the very first version in 1946.
It was. It was the original version of Beauty and the Beast done on film, based on an 18th century French version of the fairy tale by Jean-Marie Le Prince de Beaumont. But Cocteau was French, and this is in French with French subtitles.
And of course,
English subtitles.
And Jean Cocteau was a very art-based film director.
Yeah, Cocteau was an artist and a poet. That was what he referred to himself as, always, was a poet. But today he's best remembered, and I bet he never could have predicted this, for his movies, and probably this movie above all others.
And this is the film that sets the template for all of the other versions of Beauty and the Beast, not just because it's the first one, but even the way that the Beast is portrayed and presented. All the ones sort of build upon this particular version.
Yeah, and there have been remakes that are more like this, more, a little darker, aimed at an adult viewer, rather than, so the Disney version is aimed at kids more. This one is not for kids, really. Maybe some wise and insightful children could watch it, but it would probably be scary for most young children. But it's a really more emotionally complex version, and just stunning to look at in terms of its visual effects for the time and the beauty of the black and white they shot in. They actually intended to shoot in color, interestingly, and couldn't afford it right after the war in France. There was no money. Nobody had any resources or money. So he had to shoot in black and white, but I'm glad he did.
I'm glad he did, too. I can't see where color would have improved on how it's visually presented.
Yeah, it's so atmospheric and ethereal. As soon when the movie opens at Belle's home in the village with her sisters, and it's a classic fairy tale, of course. She has the two evil sisters and her goofy brother and the guy who's in love with her. And there it's just shot in sort of high key, bright, and then as soon as you get to the Beast's castle, it's all very low-key and foggy and ethereal and exotic and just really interesting.
And another thing that's really interesting is the fact that it's a threat on the part of the Beast that gets Belle to his environment. It's a castle, but it's actually a castle that's made up. It's imaginary.
Well, it's all in a magical realm. One critic said that watching Jean Cocteau's Beauty and the Beast, I don't think we said it's from 1946, watching it feels like you're passing through a portal to a magical world. Roger Ebert said that it transcends the conventions of narrative to appeal at a deeper psychic level. And so the magic is just taken for granted. None of the characters in the movie, none of them question it or say what's going on. It's just understood that there's magic in this world. It's a fairy tale, and the Beast's realm is this realm where all kinds of things can happen.
And it's really one of the things that I found wonderful is the fact that in the Beast's castle, all the lights, which are chandeliers, actually candlelit chandeliers, are held by human arms and hands.
Yeah, I think this is where Disney got the dancing candlestick and the teapot and all that in the animated version. But it's surreal and not scary really, but really interesting in the Cocteau version, where she walks through this hallway and all the candelabras are human arms holding them, and there are these faces that are statues in the wall, but their eyes follow you and they can turn and look, and they look like living statues.
And one of the things that I didn't realize until after watching it is that Jean Marais, who plays Renaud, who's her Belle's brother's friend, who's in love with Belle, also plays the Beast.
Right. Jean Marais plays three characters. He plays Avenant, the human who's in love with Belle. He plays the Beast, and he plays the prince at the end, which is very brief, but played all by the same actor.
And also the thing that grabbed me about the movie is it really, in terms of the narrative, it's pretty simple. There's no complexities here, but it works.
It's a fairy tale. The story is simple, but what it is it is revealing deeper truths. Even though it's a magical world, it feels like it gives it the freedom to reveal much more deep truths about human beings and who they are emotionally, and about the nature of romantic love and physical attraction. And that's all right on the surface, almost in a way that you can't do sometimes with a regular narrative. What did you think of the way the characters move? That's something I really noticed this last time I watched it. The Jean Marais and Josette Day, who are really the two only important characters in the movie, Beauty and the Beast, they move like they're in a silent movie. They take broad strides. They cover their faces with big gestures, like your whole arm covering your face. They lean forward and back and away from the action. Did you notice that at all?
I noticed it with the Beast, but I did not notice it with Belle.
She does it too. Yeah, it's very broad. And you know, this is 1946. This is a long way after silent movies ended. And Jean Cocteau is certainly not having, the actors wouldn't have been acting like silent movie actors on purpose. But remember, silent movie actors did what they did because you couldn't hear the dialogue. And so they showed emotion with their whole bodies and their gestures. And that's important to this movie because it shows all the emotion and eroticism and everything just by the way they move.
And they're moving in this magical realm, too.
Right. So there's interesting limitations on that. The fairy tale in this also is not, it has a happy ending, but does it? And, you know, we won't be giving away, most people probably know the story of Beauty and the Beast, but it's almost a mixed blessing that the Beast becomes beautiful prince at the end.
I know exactly what you're talking about. The feeling is not of like a triumphant, happy ending. It's rather macabre. You know, it's kind of creepy.
Yeah, there's an apocryphal story. I've heard it attributed to Greta Garbo, and I've also read that it was Marlene Dietrich that said this. But apparently, at the first showing of it, when the Beast turns into the handsome prince at the end, whoever it is, whichever one of these famous actresses said, "Where is my Beast?"
Oh, I could see that missing the Beast.
Yeah, and when you watch it at the end, this will leave to the viewer, to the listeners. When you watch the movie, what do you think Belle really feels about this handsome prince and the transformation from the Beast to the prince?
And the fact that there's something diabolical about how the transformation takes place as well, without giving away any spoilers.
Right. So that's it. Beauty and the Beast, 1946. The artist Jean Cocteau, unlike any other version, and the granddaddy of all versions.